nation's capital, and fireworks at today's Mayor's Council meeting over talks about the transfer of Liberation festivities. Hafid and good evening. Guahusinik Delgado. My duties and responsibilities as a military leader are of greater weight than your expectations of a political appointee. The former adjutant general for the Guam National Guard is fed up. He was replaced. He's speaking out after days of media coverage about low morale and reports of sexual harassment at the Guam Guard, apparently mentioned in a transition report from the new administration. The details of the report, the governor says, came from the Guard's transition team.
I wanted to just thank General Roderick Leon Guerrero for all of his contributions to the Guard. And certainly he was, like I said yesterday, he was very respectful of the decision that I made. And we left the meeting very amicable.
The governor today saying that transition was well received by Roderick Leon Guerrero, but that wasn't the case. General Leon Guerrero sent out the 4-page letter today speaking against it.
Transition report, how that was developed, needs to be scrutinized, and in the letter there's inaccuracies in what I know and what the generalization of the transition report states. You know, they talk about low morale, they talk about sexual assault, sexual harassment, and I don't see that. And every organization has its issues and challenges, but how we as leaders deal with them, like you develop a board to ensure that victims are taken care of and perpetrators are punished. That's our job. And so to say that there's sexual assault, sexual harassment, and just leave it at that, that's irresponsible. And so there's 1,500 soldiers and airmen in the Guam National Guard, and no one is saying anything. And I'm disappointed when Guam National Guard was given an opportunity to provide a response to the transition report, and it was really poor.
The current TAG appointee, Lieutenant Colonel Esther Aggie, told KUAM this week morale at the Guard, it's good. To that, the former TAG says,
it takes a while to build morale. It just doesn't happen overnight. And if Lieutenant Colonel Aggie thinks just because she took over as a TAG, morale's great, she's fooling herself. She's surrounding herself with people that help create that inaccurate transition report.
The administration continues to stand firm on its decision with its Guard appointee. You can read Roderick Leon Guerrero's letter on our website. Announced initially as a press conference over Facebook Live to discuss breaking developments on the Guam War Claims programs, instead, Congressman Mike Nicholas called it his first Facebook Live event. And right off the bat, he announced he wasn't taking questions. Chris Barnett reports.
Did you feel all warm and fuzzy?
If you notice, we have our little fireplace here.
Or left out in the cold?
We're not going to be responding to any Facebook questions or comments directly in the Facebook Live.
No questions, no comments, no Facebook, no problem.
We've established the first 24-hour congressional hotline. So we humbly ask that you reach out to those who you know might not be using this medium of communication and just update them.
For about 30 minutes by way of Facebook Live, the congressman providing an update on his efforts to address a multitude of issues concerning the territory. On the hot topic of war reparations, he announced that corrective legislation should be introduced by the end of the week to ensure claims are paid out.
At that point, we're going to start walking it through the process and updating the people of Guam on the progress that we're making with respect to the issue.
Not only is the congressman picking up the ball from his predecessor on war reparations, he says he's also tackling the problems with issues involving local veterans. St. Nicholas saying he was shocked to learn the low number of cases filed with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, despite the high level of veteran frustration. Also, according to St. Nicholas, no notes or records exist of town hall meetings held by Berdalio in the past 10 years.
And so how can we really understand the gravity of the problem or when the problem started if we have no documentation about the problem? We have no history of how long it's been there or how often it's been brought up or what has or has not been done to actually resolve the issue.
Another hot button issue, the removal of the Philippines as a country for the visa waiver program. Congressman St. Nicholas doing a 180 a few weeks ago. He said he would defer to Governor Lou Leon Guerrero on the matter. Now he says he's working with the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, the Asian Pacific American Caucus, and engaging in dialogue with the Philippine ambassador to the United States.
To be able to lean on and create pressure for a solution with respect to our H-2B circumstances.
He's also announced he's co-sponsored legislation with Puerto Rico Congresswoman Jennifer Gonzalez Colon to repeal the cockfighting ban, but also is conducting research regarding language contained in the Organic Act that he says could lead to a loophole saving cockfighting.
In a nutshell, because cockfighting was passed into local law when there was a clause in the Organic Act that said that anything passed into local law automatically became organic unless Congress vetoed it, because that was passed while that was still active, and there was no congressional action to actually repeal that out of the Organic Act as it should be in by default, then there's an argument that even though the Farm Bill creates a ban on one side, the Organic Act still creates an authorization on the other side.
On the status of opening his district office, still no word on where that office will be, but the congressman said he hopes to stick to his March 1st self-imposed deadline to open the district office. For now, you'll have to call his toll-free 1-800 number.
I apologize for the communication hiccups. You know, I really I wasn't aware that that was going to be something that was going to be so volatile.
Congressman's number, 1-844-GUAM-671. That's 1-844-482-6671. You can also send an email, michael.senicholas@gmail.house.gov. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
In the video, the fireplace was used, St. Nicholas said, to continue the late Governor Rick Berdalio's tradition of his television fireside chats. Congressman St. Nicholas says he, like the late governor, is using modern tools and the latest technology to communicate with constituents. The reason he wasn't taking comments or question over Facebook? Privacy concerns. Well, reactions to Delegate St. Nicholas' FB release, veterans advocates Dan Mendiola and Fred Flores saying Facebook is modern, but some may prefer the old-fashioned face-to-face sit-downs.
I wasn't aware of his Facebook Live.
There's maybe no substitute for a one-to-one.
The older generation had it right, you know, like you get more of a feel-good feeling when they give it to you. That way you can hold them accountable. Well, you looked me in the eye and you said this, or you spoke to me and this is what you conveyed.
While the two vets did say they prefer a face-to-face, both were grateful St. Nicholas took time to check in after a rough month where he was largely seen as AWOL. I
heard of the issues where he was hard to get a hold of, but then again, he's newly elected, so I mean it's only fair to give him the time to fix these deficiencies and then complain later on.
It shed a new light on this young man as to what he's doing for us here on the island, especially for the veterans as well.
Meanwhile, former Senator Frank Blas Jr., head of the largest World War II Survivors Foundation on Guam, was less impressed.
It was a regurgitation of a number of things that continue to be issues.
With a peak of 110 viewers watching the St. Nicholas FB Live this morning, Blas raised the issue of information not reaching the stakeholders it affects and also the one-sided narrative he says St. Nicholas offered by not
If it's a conversation is two ways.
You can see the delegates' press conference. It has been shared on KUAM News' Facebook page. Governor Lulian Guerrero has reached out to the Department of Interior Acting Secretary David Bernhardt. She's seeking his immediate help to resolve the issue that may result in yet another delay to the disbursement of adjudicated war claims filed by Guam's World War II survivors. She says they recently learned that the Department of Treasury may be unable to issue final award payments based on the department's interpretation of law. This news we first brought you from former Congresswoman Madeline Berdalio, who is now the administration's liaison in D.C. Now, Governor Leon Guerrero tells KUAM Berdalio will remain in her position. Federal regulatory decisions continue to fuel a foreign labor shortage here, and while local construction and labor officials are hopeful the multi-billion-dollar military buildup will be spared, that might not be the case for the private sector. Nessa Lacanto reports.
Lawmakers hosted an informational hearing where they got an update on the impact of continued federal tightening of the foreign worker programs. The recent move by U.S. Homeland Security to ban H-2B workers from the Philippines is drawing new concerns here. Officials say the ban on Filipinos, who unlike other nearby labor sources typically speak English and share a similar culture, will only make things more difficult. DHS removed Filipinos from the program, citing a high percentage of overstays. But Black Construction Vice President Mark Mamzar says DHS also left Guam an opening.
That loophole they created is a huge loophole. and they tell you it. So but nevertheless, you never know when the faucet goes on and when the faucet gets turned off. And so I think it's imperative we work towards getting that clarified.
The loophole gives USCIS the discretion to allow Filipinos to work on projects if it's in the U.S. interest, such as military-related construction. Local officials are also pushing to extend that to outside-the-fence projects where most visa approvals continue to be denied. Meanwhile, DOD has some $800 million in construction on the table, and the need for foreign workers is projected to surge in the next few years. 3,400 by fiscal year 2021 and 6,700 for fiscal year 22. But the implications for the private sector are sobering, as the costs for outside-the-fence construction are skyrocketing. Joe Roberto has been planning to build a retirement home for him and his wife for the past 4 years.
The first estimate about 4 months ago was $392,000. 3 years ago, it was $200 to $300. Just 2 weeks ago, my last estimate was $448,000. That is reality. That is where we're at today.
Local officials are hoping to convince Washington to change that. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Thanks, Ness. Well, President Trump laid out his proposals and promises for the nation before a joint session of Congress in his State of the Union address. The president was forced to postpone Tuesday night's speech after a 35-day government shutdown. Kenneth Craig has more.
Good evening to you from Capitol Hill, where the president tried to strike a very different tone tonight. He opened his speech with themes of unity aimed at bringing a very divided government together.
Madam Speaker, the President of the United States!
President Trump urged Republicans and Democrats to come together during his second official State of the Union address.
Victory is not winning for our party. Victory is winning for our country.
The president discussed foreign policy matters like Venezuela and Syria during his address and announced plans for a 2-day summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
Chairman Kim and I will meet again on February 27th and 28th in Vietnam.
With the threat of another government shutdown looming, Mr. Trump pressed for more funding for border security.
Simply put, walls work and walls save lives.
The president used his invited guests to highlight some of his biggest priorities, including immigration and criminal justice reform. Many Democrats in the chamber wore white in support of women, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who sat directly behind the president.
We also have more women serving in Congress than at any time before.
The president also made an apparent reference to the Russia investigation.
An economic miracle is taking place in the United States, and the only thing that can stop it are foolish wars, politics, or ridiculous partisan investigations.
And called on Congress to pass legislation to lower prescription drug prices. And in a breach of protocol tonight, the president essentially jumped the gun, starting his State of the Union address before a formal introduction by the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. It's unclear whether or not that was intentional or an oversight.
Fireworks already going off months ahead of the Liberation Carnival. Mayors expressed frustration and disappointment that Senator Talina Nelson did not consult the village leaders before deciding GVB should head the festivities. 4 senators, including Senator Pito Terlahi, James Moylan, Joe San Augustine, and Will Castro, attended the Mayor's Council meeting today. The 4 are sponsors of Bill 29 that, if passed, will allow games of chance at fairgrounds. President of the Mayor's Council of Guam, Deputy Mayor Melissa Zavares, says the decision by mayors is to continue to plan as if there is no disruption. She says, quote, "We're moving forward with the weekly planning meetings for all aspects of liberation, and if anything changes by law, we'll readjust. Our survivors are dwindling in number, and we want to make the 75th liberation a memorable one." Meanwhile, the response to the mayor's meeting, Senator Nelson issued an open invitation to the council and to GVB to discuss her bill. But she also doubled down on her anti-gambling stance, cautioning the mayors that we need to honor the voice and will of the people, who she says have staunchly said no to gambling 5 times since 2000. Funding Guam's education comes with a hefty price tag. Officials from Guam DOE are asking the legislature for nearly $340 million for the next fiscal year. But that does not include the money for Guam's 3 charter schools. Carmen Chalahi reports.
Every year, the Guam Department of Education asks for the largest paycheck. For fiscal year 2020, their budget is over $340 million. According to Superintendent John Fernandez, the need for the multi-million-dollar appropriation stems from GDOE's 14-point mandate.
When we put our budget together, we ask ourselves, what is it that we need to guarantee that all these mandates are met? That goes from the temperature in your room, having a safe school facility, to having certified teachers.
The bulk of the money, or $142 million, will go to hiring teachers and staff, and $106 million to create a, quote, healthy, safe, and sanitary learning environment, which means there will be funds for larger rebuilding projects and more.
A lot of things are the same, right? Because a lot of the things that remain are the needs for textbooks, needs for facility improvements. I know there's been a special focus on school safety, so a lot of schools requested more radios.
But charter schools are out of this budget picture. According to the request, the budgets between the 3 charter schools and the 41 GDOE public schools should be separate. Fernandez says the way the budget works now is for every charter school student, it's less money for GDOE students.
The problem is, it's not all the students going to charter schools are not necessarily coming from DOE schools. They might be coming in from private schools or off island, so to take money away from us because you got a private school student doesn't make any sense. We're in this really weird position of reviewing another school system's expenditures, yet there really isn't the ability for us to address it. The funny thing about it is the charter schools and GDOE, we all agree.
Administrator of Guahan Academy Charter School, Judy Wampat, says they welcome the separation of budgets, but with the understanding that GDOE is still obligated to provide other services to charter schools. Senators, including the chair of education, Senator Selena Nelson, will meet education officials again March 5th. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Carmen Victoria Chirlaki.
And we have more from Guam's news leader coming up. Keep it here.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
We value relationships because when we commit,
I love you guys until you're 80, until you're 90, until you're 100, forever.
We are in it for the long run, so you can enjoy the moments that matter. Because when we commit to relationships, we never stop caring. Calvo's Select Care, health care that is always there for you.
You can make each connection count with IT&E Prepaid. Talk, text, and share with the best price daily plans and rates. Stay in touch with loved ones, whether they're in Tumon, Garapan, San Jose, or even San Paulo, on the widest network in the Marianas. And reach out to friends and followers all over the world with the fastest, most reliable 4G LTE data. IT&E, explore your world.
MTO, professional janitorial services with a warm hospitality touch. MTO gives that gift year-round. Pressure wash roofs, pressure wash driveways, lawn service, home cleaning, carpet restoration, office cleaning, commercial window cleaning, floor care. When cleaning is in order, MTO has you covered. Call 647-6861 to inquire on how you can receive the maintenance you deserve.
MTO, celebrating 30 years with you, Guam.
The Ram 1500, unrelenting
amazing capability, groundbreaking style, uncompromising luxury. 2019 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Right now, during Ram Truck Month at Cars Plus and Mighty, save up to $10,500 on new Ram 1500 Crew Cab or the new 2019 Ram 1500 Regular Cab. Only $208 per paycheck. Financing as low as 1.99% is available for those who qualify. Come see for yourself. It's Ram Truck Month at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Welcome back. Well, the man accused in the first murder in Guam this year pleaded not guilty in court today. As we reported, 39-year-old Brandy Nigrobai Stephanus is indicted on charges of murder, aggravated assault as a second and third degree felony with the special allegation of possession or use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony. He's accused of stabbing and killing his co-worker Randy Tomei at their worker barracks in Jigo. Stephanus will be back in court on February 14th before Judge Michael Berdalio. Well, remember that break-in over at Simon Sanchez High School last month? Vandals damaged classrooms, left graffiti markings, and took off with several items. Now, 2 teens are being tried as adults for their alleged involvement in the burglary. Tommy Amonto and Jason Soas are charged with burglary, criminal mischief, and criminal trespass. Court documents state police noted 13 rooms had been damaged at the campus. That was back on January 11th. They apparently used a pickaxe to get inside. One witness told authorities 4 boys had been bragging about the incident and even showed off a stolen iPad. The burglary was caught on the school's video surveillance. One of the suspects admitted to police that some of the stolen items were exchanged for marijuana. Using credit cards they didn't own, 2 people are placed under arrest following multiple suspicious credit card transactions happening over a 6-month span. Candelaria Blas and Abigail Corpano are charged with theft of property, fraudulent use of a credit card, and conspiracy. Police say a major department store filed the complaint in September of 2018. Investigators learned the suspects were using a prepaid My Vanilla debit card. Authorities say the suspects would allegedly use the card to buy items well below the value amount and then would collect the full value amount of the card. This apparently happening between March and September of last year, with the suspects racking up transactions at more than 40 grand. Well, parents, this next story is for you. A little girl is found wandering alone in Harmon today. Police were called to the Hamburger Road near the St. Augustine Funeral Home around 1 p.m. The child was spotted walking alone along the side of the road. Fortunately, she wasn't injured. Officers searched the area and tracked down her parent. The mother and child were placed into the back of the patrol unit. No word yet if she will be charged. A man accused of threatening people with a knife is placed under arrest. But get this, he also allegedly tried to bribe the arresting officer to avoid going to jail. Stanley Kupasenes is charged with giving bribe and disorderly conduct. Court documents state the suspect was seen holding a knife while allegedly yelling at cars passing by and calling people out to fight. When the cops showed up, he apologized for being drunk and walking around with a knife. He is then accused of trying to pay off the officer $50 to let him go, but was taken into custody. The new digs for the Guam Police Department is just a couple of months away from completion. The governor and lieutenant governor joined officials from GURA and the GPD to tour the new Central Police Precinct in Sinahanya. Village Mayor Robert Hoffman and others agree this will surely increase safety to the area. The new precinct set to be completed by April of this year. Well, sports is next, but first, here's a look at your island weather.
Let me ask you a question. Who's the playmaker of this new Big Mac with bacon?
It's the crispy bacon, of course. The flavor brings a whole new dimension to the game.
Bacon does not win championships. Special sauce wins championships, my friend.
You're wrong. And I'm a doctor, which means I'm always right.
I'm gonna get a second opinion from my mouth.
McDonald's Classics with Bacon, only for limited time. Is it the best thing to happen to our classics or to bacon? Try for yourself and decide.
make every day a plus.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. On the show tonight, we have Sherwin Pyatt here to talk about lacing up those kicks, hitting the pavement, and getting out there running. Now, you've been running for about 8 years now. How'd you get involved with the running scene here on Island?
Well, my son was born in 2010, and I believe that's when I started. I was just looking at for an outlet to do something over the weekends because, you know, back when I was younger, I liked to go out on Fridays, but I wanted to keep myself busy during the weekends now that I have a child. And I found a 5K. I went to one 5K. I wasn't quite satisfied with my performance, and a few people, you know, beat me, and the competitive nature that I had in me wanted to get better. And I just had a goal of getting better each and every race, and that's how it all came about.
Yeah, the running community here on Guam is definitely big. It's always been growing, and it's such a welcoming community, and so many friendly people there. How have you seen the crowds grow at each 5K?
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, the growth of the sport is just amazing. I mean, look at the previous race that just happened last weekend or two weekends ago, where you're looking at 3,000 people. And, you know, there's a few races where I see where every week it's just expanding and growing, which is a great feat to see. So.
And you're a part of Run Guam, part owners with Derek and Desmond. You guys do great things, always popping with new shirt concepts and things like that. But being a runner, what are some of the things that you always have to focus on? I know some people go with heart rate, try to pace themselves, but for you specifically, what do you do out there to keep your pace?
Well, to keep my pace, you just mentioned it's very important to look at your data, and there's watches out there that keeps track of your pace, your mileage, your heart rate, and after each training session or workout or mileage you do, you connect on your watch and you sync it through your phone, and you go back home and you look at the data, you look at the charts and see what you did right, what you did wrong, look at areas you can improve and areas you know, you're strong in. So basically, that's what I do to improve, and that's what I tell most of my athletes as well, to always not just go out there and run and, you know, go by feel. You got to look at, I mean, it's just like any other sport, right? You got to go back and look at the things that you need to improve on and things you did right and wrong.
And how many times a week do you think you run and accumulate as far as miles per week?
Well, right now I've been increasing my mileage because I just recently signed up for the half marathon that's coming up. So I run about 5 days a week. I just had another child in this, you know, last December, I believe. Yeah, last year, December. And my mileage kind of, you know, wasn't that much. But now that I signed up for the half marathon, I'm looking at roughly 35 to 40, and I'm going to slightly increase that maybe by 10% every week.
And anything changed as far as your regimen for the upcoming half marathon?
Definitely more mileage, trying to watch what I eat. But days that I go long, I try to eat more protein and more carbs, just to ensure that my body recovers properly and I have enough fuel to go out there and do more mileage.
All right, thanks for being on the show. That's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
autograph. You say you're shy, but I really don't know why. 'Cause you light the room like a flower bloom. It don't start till you get here. It don't feel right unless you're near. I wanna be where you are. So I guess you tell I'm a shooting star. 'Cause you make the moment. Oh, you make the moment. Oh, you make the moment.
So tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh, you always make the moment.
We are the Half Day Pledge Kids. What's the Half Day Pledge? It's a promise to share a Half Day spirit and to protect our culture. Like saying Happy Day! Home down!
It also means promising to keep our island clean.
Like cleaning up the beach? That sounds so easy.
It is. Anyone can sign up, even kids just like us.
How do kids sign up? It's easy. Moms and dads call the Guam Visitors Bureau and sign your kid up to take the pledge.
All kids get certificates, bags, and can enjoy cultural activities at the signing ceremony.
We are Half a Day Pledge Kids, and you can be too.
Introducing Triple J's Online Shopper, the new, faster, easier way to purchase your next vehicle. Explore hundreds of new and used vehicles in full 360-degree view. Get pre-approved instantly from the comfort of your home or office. Personalize your own finance terms and get top market value on your trade-in in just a few quick, easy steps. Buy with confidence from start to signature, and we'll even go the extra mile to deliver your vehicle to your home or office. Have a question? Our sales team is just a chat away for instant assistance. Click, pick, drive. Complete the entire car buying process with Triple J's Online Shopper and purchase your next vehicle at triplejguam.com today.
Can I just get it right back? Now time to take a look at who all is celebrating this week. Here's your Koso and Krumi Birthday Club list.
Celebrating their birthday on this beautiful February 6th. Happy birthday to you, to Vince Tenorio. May all of your wishes and dreams come true today and always. We love and miss you from your Auntie Shelly and your Uncle Richard. And a very special 10th happy birthday to Joey Camille Umpinko. From your mom, dad, and all of your brothers and sisters, we hope you have an amazing day. We all love you very much. And a special happy 9th birthday to Chloe Cala-Cruz. May you have a great day, Chloe. And a happy birthday going out to Peter's son, Ada. Happy birthday wishes from all your friends in the FD class of 1979. Happy birthday, Sonny. And a special happy birthday to Bernadine Din Kineta. We love you. And a happy belated birthday going out to Drew Philip Mason Napati. Happy belated birthday. May the Lord bless you always in the years to come. We love you, son and grandson, from your mommy and daddy, Philip and Denise, and your grandpa and grandma, Jesse and Linda again.
And if you want to get your loved one on the Koso Krumi Birthday Club list, just register on KUAM.com. Be sure to include their photo, name, and birthday. That's going to do it for your primetime newscast. Good night.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E. Explore your world.